Hi there, I hope you're enjoying Homemade Towersy Part 2. Just wanted to say that all of the activity today is completely free, but if you can donate to support the artists that have been involved and indeed the future of the festival, please do so at our crowdfunder, which you'll find at crowdfunder.co.uk. Just search for Towersy Festival and it will pop up and you can make a donation, big or small. If you've had refunds for your tickets from this year, then any amount of that you can donate would go a long way to helping us get back on track. And I hope you're enjoying the day, and we'll catch you soon. Take care.
So I'm delighted to welcome broadcasting legend Andy Kershaw. Oh yeah, I know. This is a man who, according to his Wikipedia, which of course is probably all a load of nonsense, was the when he was the entertainment secretary at Leeds University, booked Dire Straits, Elvis Costello, and he paid Duran Duran £50 from his own pocket. Now, is that true, Andy?
Yes, it is true. Yeah, I paid Duran Duran, who were complete unknowns. They were sent round as the support band for Hazel O'Connor, who at the time we had on at Leeds, because she was riding high in the charts. I think it should even have been at number one with the time of Breaking Glass. Do you remember all that? And you didn't get any say in who the support band was. They were the support band for the whole tour. Anyway, this group turned up, these unknowns, beautifully coiffeured, I remember. And the standard fee in those days, you know, Hazel O'Connor could have been on a couple of £1,000s for her headlining appearance. But the standard fee for a support band in those days was £50. What used to happen is the record company of the support band would buy them onto the tour as a promotional thing to introduce them to a new audience, you see. And you paid them a token £50 for the trouble. And this lad came to me at the end, and who I know he introduced himself at the time as Simon Le Bon, and I'd given him a cheque for this £50, and which is how the student union paid groups, by cheque, not cash. And he said to me, "I'm very sorry," he said, "this cheque's no good to us." He said, "You see, we need the cash to pay for our B&B in Leeds tonight." And I just took pity on him. And I thought I could understand that must be a real pain if a student union insists on paying you by cheque. So I said, "Look, I'll tell you what I'll do. Give me the cheque back." And I tore it up. Then I went to the cash point machine in the student union building next door to the concert hall and got £50 out of my own money, which was a lot of money for us in 1980. And gave him that and had him write a receipt, which he signed, and I've still got. So I received from Andy Kershaw £50 for supporting Hazel O'Connor, Simon Le Bon of Duran Duran.
Amazing.
Then I got my £50 back from the union finance office.
Good.
Oh, well, what more than just Elvis Costello and Dire Straits, Joe? I'm looking at the side of my filing cabinet now, and a lot of the backstage passes, there were sticky passes that we used to have printed for the gigs back then. And I've got quite a lot of them stuck on the filing cabinet here. We've got Elvis Costello and the Attractions on the 23rd of June, 1981, although Elvis was a regular visitor. The Clash, 2 backstage passes for 2 different gigs for them. The Undertones, Dire Straits, Rory Gallagher, The Pretenders. Oh,
wow.
Adam Wainwright the Third, Iggy Pop, Ian Dury and the Blockheads. It was a big venue, and we had all the biggest groups at the time. But hell's teeth, what an experience it was for me as a 19, 20-year-old.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can imagine.
Booking all those groups and then running the concerts, you know.
Yeah. I know how that feels. Well, that is amazing. I bet you've got some absolute treasures in your collection. What I wanted to ask you was, first of all, just how you think the pandemic's affected music and culture in the country, which I know it's affected you directly and it's affected us directly, but it's, you know, do you think it's going to have a big effect going forward?
I don't know is the answer. I imagine it probably will. There'll be lots of organisations, companies, you know, theatres, arts centres, festivals, which will, like so many other things, you know, such as pubs, simply won't come back because they haven't been able to withstand what's happened over the last year and a half. I think it's damaged us in so many ways, you know, the hospitality industry as well, kids' education. It's been enormously damaging. Me personally, and I know I'm not alone in this, but I've got friends. One of my oldest friends has quite a big stage lighting company in Leeds. He worked on the concerts with me at the university back in the early 80s, and then set up his own lighting company. And it's a fairly big operation, and that's really hit them because those tours haven't happened. And then there are people in all areas of the entertainment industry who've been hammered by it. I have, I lost all my work because I do these, as you know, I do these one-man shows in small theatres, art centres, and sometimes at the Towersey Festival. They call The Adventures of Andy Kershaw, about the life in music and broadcasting and foreign correspondence and what have you. And I had a lot of those booked in for 2020, and quite a few DJ nights as well, gigs where I was DJing, and I lost a lot overnight a year last March. And what I'm finding now is, although people at the time, probably well-intentioned, said, "Oh, when all this is over, we'll rebook this with you," and it's not happening. And I gather a lot of these places now, understandably, have got a big backlog of things that they had to similarly postpone.
Yeah,
and I've had only one person honour one of those original bookings that I had in March of 2020 that dropped out overnight.
Yeah,
So I've done one-man show since all this started, which was weeks ago.
Well, fingers crossed they all come back very soon, along with the the TV stuff as well. And
that faded away.
Yeah. So fingers crossed that'll all come back. You mentioned your Adventures of Andy Kershaw, and if this is probably a tricky one, but if you had to pick just one musical memory from your huge catalogue of stories and memories that jumps out to you, which memory would you pick?
Oh, it's hard, Joe. I've been so lucky because there's been so many. Going right back to those days, putting on the gigs at Leeds University, and as a 19-year-old, dealing with a lot of them, my heroes, face to face, day to day. People like Elvis Costello and the Clash and Loudon Wainwright and you name them. And did that? Sorry, go on. What were you going to ask?
Working with those people, then is that what gave you the confidence? I don't think you suffer from a lack of confidence, but did that give you the confidence to go into radio and start working in broadcasting?
Yes, I think you're right to some extent. I think what it did do, when I got yanked off the streets the broadcasting started when I was yanked off the streets by a producer at the Whistle Test, to make me suddenly a presenter of that rock music programme on BBC Two. Because of what I'd done at Leeds University, I think it stood me in good stead because I wasn't overawed or starstruck by rock stars by the time I got to the Whistle Test, because I've been dealing with them for the last 3 or 4 years on an almost daily basis. So I certainly, wasn't overawed by anybody. And I felt comfortable in their company as well. But to single out one particular, can I give you two?
Yeah.
I think, when I was cheeky in 2000 and I rang up Island Records because they just signed him and he was coming to the UK to do a tour. And I said, "Hello there, would Willie Nelson please come and play on my radio programme?" Fully expecting them to say, "You've got to be joking." And they said yes. And he came in with the full band and stood around me in a semicircle. And I sat at a little desk with a microphone in front of me. I felt like an exam invigilator. And there was Willie and all of them, Paul English, Jodie Payne, his sister Bobby on the piano, the whole family band was there surrounding me. And Willie stood there in front of me with a little battered guitar with the hole in the soundboard. And he started the program and he said, "Well, Andy, what would you like me to play?" And I thought, my God, this is one of the writers of the 20s.
Oh, dear.
And I said, "Willie, you can play what you like. We've got 2 hours. You can play the whole damn program if you want." And he pretty much. And the other one, I think, would be, again, it's honour. you know, I was compere at Glastonbury and DJ at Glastonbury on the stage for more than 10 years. You know, there were some amazing evenings there. You know, I remember one year, you know, there was Black Uhuru, and I had to introduce Black Uhuru, followed by Ry Cooder and David Lindley. Well, was it the other way around? But they were next to each other on the same early evening bill. I mean, but I think the one that stands out more than any other and still brings a lump to my throat was when I had to bring on Johnny Cash in 1994. And, you know, you're on a completely different level. And I was really worried that the Glastonbury audience might ridicule him because it was country music. And I thought they might also see him as an old man. Who sang country, and I thought this might go horribly wrong. And I went to see him backstage just before I was due to introduce him, and I quickly realised that he asked me what the crowd was like out there. So it's about 120, 130,000, and he said to me, "Are they all kids?" And I thought, oh, fuck, he's as worried as I am about this. And then I said to him, "No, not all kids." I said, "Is there any particular form of words that you want me to use to introduce you?" Because I didn't know. You've got to get, when you do an introduction like that at a festival, as you know, Joe, you can't stand there and talk for 10 minutes about why someone's so. You've got to nail it in one short sentence.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I couldn't think of how to just get Johnny Cash in one. And I said, "Do you have any particular form of words that you'd like me to use?" "No, Andy, you say what you want." I thought, okay. The clock's ticking away. It's about 5 minutes to go. I'll tell you, Joe, I swear to God, when Glenn, the stage manager in those days on the Glastonbury Pyramid stage, gave me a wave to say, introduce him, I looked to the back of the stage and I could see Johnny Cash and his band members assembled in the shadows at the back. And when I set off to that centre mic, I still did not know what the hell I was going to say. I tell you, that's true. And it was about, you know, big stage last week, about a 15-yard walk. And when I got to that microphone and looked into the eyes of 120,000 people, you know, there was a greater force at work. God knows where it came from. But I looked at them and I just said, "Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome a giant of American music and a giant of a man." And by that time, he was standing at my shoulder. And the next thing I heard was dang, 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 dang.
Wow.
"I hear the train a-coming, it's rolling round the bend." That was amazing.
Amazing. And did it go down well?
Oh, just like wave upon wave of affection. These great rollers, a tsunami of affection was crashing into the front of the stage.
Brilliant. What a man. And what a memory to have. I mean, I think I'd have forgotten his name by the time I got to the microphone. I'll be that terrified. God, I've done that a number of times. Well, listen, thank you, Andy. I really appreciate that. And thanks for just dropping in and saying hello.
No, and listen, I'm very pleased to hear that Towers is likely to be back in 2022.
Definitely be back.
I've really enjoyed my appearances at Towersy, and thank you for having me there. And what I'd say about it is this: what makes it, for me, a really lovely festival. When you're there, because so much of life these days is corporate, isn't it? It's corporate bollocks everywhere.
Absolutely.
When you're at Towersy, it feels like a family-run festival because it is. And the other thing that I've thought when the two occasions I've been there as a performer, I've thought to myself, I wish I had the time to spend the whole weekend here because the atmosphere is so nice. And it was like a village fair with world-class musicians.
That is we might have to quote you on that one, Andy. That is you've captured it perfectly. And you'd be welcome anytime you like. Just drop me a line and come on down.
That's very kind. You can book me for next year then, Joe.
Get it in the diary. Right. Nice one, Andy. Thanks, mate.
All the best for you and Towers.
Take care. Yeah, take care.
Go on then.